Welcome to the Fantasy HQ podcast, all things NRL fantasy. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook. Your hosts, Frosty and Steve-O. Welcome everyone to the Fantasy HQ podcast, all things NRL fantasy. Today I'm with Frosty here as my co-host, and Frosty, you're wearing a Highlanders jersey, which looks pretty good after the weekend, mate.
Yeah, gee, we throwback here, Steve-O. So, long live the Landers. They are the land of battlers, and always good to get one over those Crusaders. So, game of the round. But on the league front, I come crashing back down to earth because the news is out that Burton's okay, but Leo Thompson, grade 3 calf strain, out 10 weeks. So,
Oh, shit, I haven't heard that.
oh yeah, no, there you go. So frustration is at an all-time peak. Yeah, not happy with that. So big sign over the summer, beef up the forward pack, and missing just about half the year. So great stuff.
That is a disappointing start for the Bulldogs, but not to worry. Today we're going to be talking top hooker options for your 2026 season, and we've got some keepers, we've got some mid-ranges, and some cheapies to go through. So hopefully you listen through. And before we start, we will have our overall league code in the description, and we do appreciate if you do go and give us a follow on the league and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Anyway, first up, we are going to be talking hookers, and we're starting with Blake Brayley here, 686k. Last year had a standout season averaging nearly 54 points, and he's only owned by 5.5%. For me, he's the top hooker in the game last year, and I think he's odds-on favourite to be it this year as well. And for me, I've actually got him in my team right now, but can you talk me out of him, Frosty?
No, I don't mind the play, honestly, Steve-O. We've been talking lately, and the common theme early doors at the start of the preseason was everyone was jumping on those sort of cheapies at the bottom end of the mid-ranges. Mahoney, Haywood was in there, Cheese. But yeah, the minutes are now iffy for those guys. And Blake Brayley, top hooker last year purely because 80-minute hooker, no worry about origin. It's going to be rinse and repeat this year. And so I don't mind it. Hookers, yeah, turning out to be a challenging position. And if you could lock that down, and if he doesn't get injured or suspended, not have to be in a trade there all year, I think that's a massive win personally. So Grant's on my radar. Whether Brayley joins him, I'm not too sure yet, but I certainly don't mind it from coaches.
Yeah, he's definitely one that I am interested in. So as it stands, he's in my team, but there is still time to change him out, and potentially for this guy, Harry Grant, 645k. Last year he averaged around 50 and is 22.5% owned, which is lower than most seasons to start the year. And he did maybe have a little bit of a downtick last year, but there is chance he has a big uptick this year, just in terms of needing a bit more out of him and the sort of the key playmakers, with a couple of key players, the likes of Pappenhausen and Katoa, not in the team. So Harry Grant, he's definitely in your radar, is he?
Yeah, just mentioned it before, and I think last year the Storm, although had another successful season, I think they started slow, especially in the forward pack. Stefano come over, but he only played sort of 38 to 42 minutes, and he wasn't offering a heck of a lot to them. The back end of the season, once they'd had some weeks and some practices and trainings together, they were gelling, and they did look a far better unit. So I expect that to be more the trend to start the 2026 season. Therefore, Grant, hopefully averaging around that low 50s right from the get-go.
So potentially a couple of points of value there, which for a gun keeper is what you're looking for. Brayley's probably around the same price, but yeah, Grant could be averaging maybe a couple extra. One that I envision not to average the same as last season, which is 49 points, is Connor Watson for the Roosters. He's valued at 622k. And with Robson coming over and being a big minute player of around usually 80 minutes, I imagine Robson plays at least 60 at hooker. So Connor Watson, does he get enough minutes for you?
Now, an interesting one after the team list is out on Tuesday, heading into the last trials. Yeah, Steep gets the nod at lock. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what is made of that when it comes to the actual competition in round one. Whether Watson actually claims that 13 jersey, and that's just a bit of a rest period for him. But yeah, certainly an avoid for myself out of those top gun hooker range players.
Yeah, I think he's an avoid. It's definitely for me to start the season. Something would have to change, whether it be a injury to Robson or like a 60-minute lock roll. But yeah, it's a wait and see at the very best. Moving
Yeah.
on to sort of that mid-range category now, we have Wade Egan, someone that you and I have talked a little bit about in previous podcasts, and is in our current Fantasy HQ team that we haven't touched for the last week. So whether or not he stays there, Healy on the bench is not something that you or I are going to hang around with. So Wade Egan, 584k, averaged 46 last year, and is currently 3.5% owned. Do you envision us keeping him to start the season?
Yeah, with like you say, with Sam Healy now floating around at that 14 jersey, he's certainly looking less appealing. We thought he was flying under the radar as one of those 80-minute hookers, and was going to provide our team with stability, but he's looking to join most of the other hookers in the league. So yeah, it's sort of minimising those 80-minute hookers again and again, only leaving a couple that we just mentioned. So yeah, I think it'll be tough for him to keep a spot in our team, and yeah, he shouldn't really be keeping a spot in many other coaches. Wilds fans, yeah, don't get blurred vision. Yeah, I'd be getting him out.
Next up, similar price, 579k is the aforementioned Reece Robson moved to the Roosters now, away from the Cowboys. He averaged 45.5 last year and is just under 4% owned. I do think he gets a minutes reduction, and he's not necessarily your high PPM hooker. So someone that I think's a clear avoid, although I do see him in a couple of teams coming through.
Yeah, interesting this one. I do think he won't be playing 80, which is or straight off the bat a negative. Watson floating around is never good signs. Always in the Roosters side, good more football. Stats, and try.
Frosty, I just think we're losing you at the moment. Bit of a connection issue. I think we're losing you a little bit. I'll continue on for this one. Maybe Frosty, if you just want to turn off your Wi-Fi and start it again on the laptop. But yeah, Reece Robson, 579k. I think it's one that you've got to hold off to start the season. We don't know what their minutes are like. It's someone that needs to be playing 80 minutes to see value, and at the moment, it's just not there for me. Moving on there to Chris Randall for the Titans, 487k. He's the last of our mid-range we want to talk about. Averaged 38.3 last year, 3.1% owned. And we did talk about him a little bit earlier in our pods, under 5% owned. And I know at the time, Frosty was very big on him. And at that time, he was in his side. He predicted him to be about a 50-point average, which is where it looks like he'll be if he does get that lock roll for about 60 minutes per game. So given that is an opportunity, and seeing Cooper by starting on the bench means that it is potential. Cooper could get 20 minutes in at lock, and then maybe another 20 minutes in at prop, somewhere around there. So if he is getting that 60 minutes, we do expect him to be up around that 50 points per game. So someone to definitely consider in your side. And we'll move on to a couple of cheapies, a couple of big names that have been around for a while now. Brandon Smith, he is only 300k, playing for the Rabbitohs this season. He's still got the hooker and mid dual, which will be very important. He is 25.2% average last year, and he's currently 42.2% owned. So there's someone that's basically a no-brainer. I don't expect him to get big minutes, and we're not sure if he gets lock minutes sharing with Cameron Murray. If he does, that's very good for fantasy. And if he steals maybe 20 minutes either at the start of the game off Peter Mamasulis, that could be handy to get him around that, somewhere around that 35 average, and that would see us about 12 points of value. Which, if he can do that, he's up around that 450k, and happy to lock him into the side at that stage. But Brandon Smith has let me down personally nearly every year for the past 3 or 4 years, so I'm not the biggest fan of having him in my team, but somehow he always makes his way in, and maybe it's because he's a Kiwi and I've got a little soft spot for him. And lastly that we want to talk about is Bailey Haywood, 375k for the Bulldogs. We have talked about this guy quite a bit. We talked about him yesterday. He was at that stage over 20% owned, at 19.7% now. He has dropped a little bit, and I think it's because he just doesn't have that attacking flair. Like, he could go play 70 minutes and still only knock out a 35, and it's just in basically a tackling. He doesn't get many meters, and he's more of a pass first, just sort of does his work around the game. They're going to leave it mostly up to their other halves. So Bailey Haywood for me is someone that is in both of mine and Frosty's team, but I am hesitant the closer we get to the season just because of that attacking threat. Is that similar for you, Frosty, if we've got you back?
Yeah, gee, I tell you what a time for an update from Discord, huh? But Bailey Haywood, looking forward to a couple of weekends' time. The dual position is very handy. He is cheap enough, and if he can scrape through a 36 or 38 average, he'll be doing a job there. Certainly probably not a starter, but if he's on the bench there chipping away, happy enough.
Yeah, I'm happy enough. If he stays over 35 and at least makes 75k hopefully, but has that potential of averaging around that 45 maybe. If things go a bit smoother and he does play close to 80 minutes, then it's sort of someone that you're really happy to have in the team.
Yeah.
Lastly, I just want to touch on, I do see quite a few people putting the likes of Riley Smith in their team. 473k, average 37 last year, 1.3% owned. So not high percentage owned at all, but maybe that's because Frosty, they've sent the teams through to you and you've steered them clear. Because with Taylor De Silva in the team, it's just a no-brainer not to have anyone from the Eels as your hooker.
Yeah, dead right. With those two sitting there, you don't go either way because they're just going to be stealing minutes off each other, and neither of them are going to be averaging 40 plus. So both hard avoids there.
It's a little bit like the Cook for the Dragons. You just can't get him into your team where you've got someone like Jacob Little hanging there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Because they're going to take minutes from each other. And this year with the forward rotation for the Dragons, I don't envision Cook playing too much at 13 at lock where he played a little bit last year. Or if he does, then it just is a deterrent for all the forwards at Dragons. So
yeah, 100%. Dragons pack's looking much stronger. I don't think there's any need for Cook at 13, and yeah, if there is, it's bad news for Jewett and Toby Couchman and the like. So Dragons are one to certainly be looking at round 1 and 2.
Absolutely. Anyway, that does it for our hookers this year. We've gone through some guns, we've gone through some mids and some cheapies, and hopefully someone in that lineup is in your team. Anyway, Frosty.
And hopefully Discord doesn't hit me with 10 updates again and we'll be all right. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that was a bit of a whirlwind, but we got through it. We got you back seamlessly, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, thanks, team. Thanks for watching, and do subscribe and join our overall league. Cheers. We appreciate your support for the Fantasy HQ podcast, all things NRL fantasy. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify and Facebook, and most importantly, thanks for watching.